LibertyNation.com's weekly political roundtable. Joining me for today's discussion about the Democratic strategy and its failings in the run-up to the midterm elections are Mark Angelides, our managing editor from across the pond, Sarah Kyle Gill, our national correspondent, and Graham Noble, our political correspondent. I'm Leesa K. Donner. This is going to be a big year one way or the other for the midterm elections. Graham, you have been writing a weekly column on LibertyNation.com, crunching the numbers and probabilities for the midterm results. As a matter of fact, your articles are quite popular. What do you predict from what you've observed so far will be the overall campaign strategy going forward for the Democrats?
Well, Leesa, I think that as usual with the Democrats, I think their platform for the midterms is going to be based on what they think is the flavor of the day, the emotional knee-jerk stuff. So once again, rather than really go in for some kind of like hard-headed, rational, long-term economic strategy that's going to make everything better, they're going to run on their normal identity politics. Particularly, they're going to be talking a lot about gun control. They're going to be talking about the hot buttons of the time that they think maybe is going to win them some seats.
Sarah, while many commentators are predicting a blue wave, what problems do you see the Democrats are going to face?
They don't have a message. Priorities USA, the major super PAC that funded Hillary's campaign and goes back quite a ways, released a memo not too long ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and basically warned them to stay away from immigration talk and tax reform talk and to focus strictly on healthcare because they basically own that issue.
Mark, in reality, we know that much of the leftist media is going to be shilling for the Democrats. They did this in the 2016 election. They've done it for just about every special election since. How much is this actually going to impact voters in their final decision, in your opinion?
Quite honestly, not in the slightest. What will impact voters' decisions, however, is social media. But probably not in the way that most people think. I mean, if we look at the Russian collusion that's apparently been taking place, which resulted in 13 warrants for arrest of Russian nationals, the actual impact they had was utterly minimal. I mean, this is said by pretty much everybody in positions of authority. They're saying the impact was utterly minimal. In fact, if we look across the pond on this, we've got Mark Zuckerberg is being subpoenaed to come to Parliament and speak about how Russia influenced the Brexit vote. Although we actually already have the numbers on this, and it's quite insane. For the entire anti-Brexit movement, which was the British establishment, and then you've got the entire Brexit movement, which, if you believe the people who lost the referendum, was the Russians. They managed to spend a grand total of 73 pence. Now, in American money, that's also still not a lot. But so what's going to happen? Same thing in America here. There'll be a lot of light, but almost no heat. There'll be people pushing out campaigns across social media, which they think will be more effective. Leesa, you did an amazing interview with we had on Liberty Nation, an amazing interview with Donna Brazil, who talked about how it was crunching the numbers and getting the social marketing and getting the numbers together, which made a huge difference for Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012. People are actually moved beyond that now. They get their information from so many different sources. I mean, to say that there's such a thing as the alternative media now is not even true. I mean, we're the media, the alternative media, the ones who are still sticking with the original plot and the party lines. And we're putting out all this new information that is such a wave against the traditional leftist domination that usually takes place. So sorry, long way around to answer your question. The media will affect voting intentions, not in the slightest. Social media will have slightly more of an effect, but there's so many people railing against the lies and the propaganda now that I would imagine pretty much zero is the sum total.
Sarah, I'd like to go to you next. You know, if you look at the 18th district in Pennsylvania where Lamb just supposedly won, I'm not even sure it's final yet, but over Saccone, what you had was a candidate that was really running as a pro-Trump Democrat. Now, that seemed to be a fairly winning strategy for the Democrats. Do you see more of that coming around?
I do. Trump has never been one strong party or the other. He just ended up running as a Republican and blowing up the Republican Party, which is what Republicans obviously wanted. But he appeals to a broader audience in that he's a negotiator. I mean, you can see it on his gun control issues. You can see him bending back and forth. And, you know, whether you like him personally, he does want to work with both sides of the aisle. He's childish in how he does it at times, but still that's very prevalent. And I think we're going to see a lot more localized, you know, takeovers from the Democrats. I don't think they're going to go national this year at all. I think they're going to start and go small. You know, you're going to have the cities and the states, and that's where they're going to, you know, try to overtake us.
Yeah, and that really echoes what Donna Brazil told us months ago. Now, going around the table, starting with Graham, what do we all think is the likelihood of the Republicans losing control of either house? And if they do, who is ultimately to blame? Graham.
Well, I think there's almost no chance of the Democrats gaining control of the Senate. That's just too big a hill to climb for them. They've got way more incumbents running than the Republicans. Not to mention the fact that 10 of the 20 odd Democratic senators that are running for re-election are running in states that Trump won. The Republicans really just have to hold on. They've got just a small handful of senators running for re-election. You know, the Senate, that's a bridge too far for the Democrats. In terms of the House, I really find it hard to believe that actually this so-called blue wave is going to materialize. And I think, although I tend to agree with Sarah somewhat in terms of the Democrats may try a more local strategy than a national strategy. Ultimately, as you know, James Carville famously said many years ago, it's the economy, stupid. And, you know, that's going to be a tough one. I think the improving economy is going to be the rock upon which that blue wave breaks. And I could see maybe the Democrats picking up, you know, a net gain of seats in the House of Representatives. But I'm not entirely sure at all that they're going to gain control of the House.
Mark.
I think that they might. They might. Obviously, with Graham, I agree completely. The Senate's just not going to happen for them. The House of Representatives, there's a chance, but they might just screw it up first. I don't know if anybody's been watching what's happening in California in some of the districts, but they fielded too many candidates, and because it's the first two who get to run regardless of party, what's happening is they've got, I think, eight candidates all vying for 45% of the vote. They might not even make it onto some of the ballots. So although they will try and out-Trump Trump in some ways or go local, as Sarah says, I think they may have screwed it already. I don't think there's much chance for them.
All right, Sarah, have they screwed the pooch?
They've screwed the pooch.
I love that phrase.
I do not believe that they'll. I think it'll be a squeaker in the House. The Senate's a no-go. It could be a squeaker in the House, but you know, if we lose this after everything that has transpired in the last 2 years, we have ourselves to blame. We have our rhinos to blame for just, not getting off their you-know-whats for the last 2 years.
All right, open forum. Who's got something they just have to get off their chest about the midterms? Mark, go.
It will be an utter disaster in terms of the nonsense that gets fed to us if the Democrats make any gains at all in these elections. It will just be, this is the wave, this is what's happening, the whole thing's changing, Trump's all finished. It will be chaos, and it will just be so much noise coming from the media, desperate to cling on to any semblance of maybe, just maybe, we're still relevant. And so more so than for any other reason, I'm hoping that the Democrats get a severe drubbing in 2019.
And I'm thinking as well that if anything like the blue wave were to actually materialize, and Democrats did actually come away with huge gains in the House of Representatives, which again, I find that hard to believe that's going to happen. But if it does happen, and if the Democrats come away with anything like a decent majority in the House, there is going to be a lot of finger pointing and recrimination within the conservative / Republican movement. On the right side of the aisle, there's going to be a lot of circular firing squads going on, because obviously the so-called never Trumpers are going to be blaming Trump for the losses, and those who support Trump, or at least those who don't hate him on the right, they're going to say, and I believe they will have a point, they're going to say that it was the fault of that stubborn wing of the conservative movement and the Republican movement that absolutely refuses to give Trump credit for anything, and more so has even joined the left in trying to tear him down. So yeah, there's going to be fireworks if the Democrats do actually gain control of the House.
Well, part of me thinks that they're going to be smart enough to run more lambs. That is, the pro-Trump throwback JFK, classic blue Democrat. But part of me thinks they're going to be really stupid and run the Bernies and the crazy leftists and that sort of thing. Sorry about my phone ringing.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mark, Sarah, and Graham, and thank you for joining us for our LNTV Roundtable discussion. Be sure to visit libertynation.com for all the news and analysis minus the propaganda. And don't forget to download our new app, LN News and Commentary. For today's Roundtable, I'm Leesa K. Donner, and you've been watching another edition of LNTV.